In this Path of Exile 2 video, guys, I'm going to be going over the Witch class. So this video is dedicated for the people that pick the Witch as their starter class. This was my personal favorite one out of all of the different classes in Path of Exile 2. This was actually the first one that I picked personally. So if you guys want some tips and tricks on how to level her properly, stick around and find out. So the general playstyle of the Witch is that of a Necromancer. So if anybody that has played Diablo games, the Necromancer playstyle is similar to what the Witch is in Path of Exile 2. Now, in the very beginning of the game, you'll probably be using her minions, which you have sword and shield skeletons that have pretty good health, but they don't do much damage. They just kind of sit there and take the damage for you as you cast spells in the background. Now, as you level up a little bit further, you could summon like these bone waves to resurrect dead bodies, to have these little creatures come out and help you, and then you can also debuff enemies. So with you first starting out, you probably have the minion playstyle, but you'll adapt to whatever playstyle that you will like later on in the game. Now, the Witch's passive skill tree starts at the top of the skill tree. Now, one thing that I would highly recommend, especially in the early game, is to just level up damage, in my opinion, because you'll want to focus on trying to kill things a lot faster. So in the left-hand side of the top left screen, you'll have like minion damage and spell damage, and then once you start getting some better gear, then I would start focusing on like mana regeneration, cast speeds, then start focusing on other things like that. But I would start in the top left part, which is more spell and minion damage, and then of course once you get further and further into the game and then get new ascendancies, then you can kind of pick whatever playstyle that you want to go from there. And since we are talking about the Witch and the minions, there is a mechanic for the Witch called Spirit. So as you can see on some of the Skeletal Warrior and Skeletal Snipers, you'll see a thing next to them saying Spirit cost, or Spirit. And the further you level them up, the less spirit reservation that they'll have. And then sometimes you will get gear in the game on either on your weapons or jewelry or armor that will give you bonus spirit. And what spirit does for the Witch, it allows you to have more minions active at a time. So as you can see here, right now currently I have about 4 skeletal warriors on top of the weapon skill that already gives me a warrior, and then I have 1 skeletal sniper, so I got 4 warriors in total, 1 skeletal sniper, and then I can have up to 8 of the other creatures from the bone wave attack. So the more spirit that you have, or the more you level up the skeletal spirits, the more minions you can have. So that's how the spirit mechanic works for the Witch. Now, the Unearth attack that I keep talking about, or the Bone Wave attack, is called Unearth. This is the secondary method to get little creatures to help you and aid you in battle. So every time you come across dead bodies, they glow green on the ground, as you can see here. And if you do a Bone Wave attack, or the Unearth attack, I'm sorry, I don't know why I keep calling it that, but it just looks like a bunch of bones coming out of the ground. But once you do that over a pile of corpses, then that will give you additional minions to help you in battle. So once you get your first uncut skill gem, I would highly recommend to get this as soon as possible. And another very useful spell, especially in the early game, is called Contagion. Now, this is your first chaos spell. This is a debuff that you can put on the enemies. It's basically a DOT spell. It's this purple oil that you see around the enemies here, and when you kill enemies with Contagion afflicted to them, you can use the Unearth skill to resurrect the minions, and those minions will also have purple aura around them to also spread more contagion to other enemies, and each enemy that dies with Contagion will spread it to other enemies as well. So this is very useful in boss fights or dealing with a bunch of ads for the Witch. So again, another very useful spell, I would say, once you get uncut skill gems, to use Contagion and Unearth as well. Now, as far as the minion summons go, the 3 that you'll get early on in the game, the first one will be the Skeletor Warrior. This is basically your meat shield skeleton that has the sword and shields, doesn't do a lot of damage, but has decent health to stand there and take the damage for you as you casting spells in the background, as I explained earlier in the video. And then moving on to the second one, I dabbled a little bit into it, but you'll have the Skeletal Sniper. So this is your more damage but less health. It'll stay more in the back with you, picking off at enemies, and you have a chance to fire a command to summon a gas arrow, so you can apply toxin to the enemy as well. So this is like another debuff, so you can apply chaos and have your Skeletal Sniper pop a poison arrow. So again, really good for boss fights. And then the last one that you'll kind of get early is the Skeletal Arsonist. This is a bomb throwing skeleton that will, again, high damage, more of a AoE bomb throwing, doing fire damage over time, stay in the back with you, kind of like the Skeletal Sniper, and then just throw bombs onto enemies and apply a fire DOT over time. So these 3 minions will be your bread and butter for the Witch, as for the minion build goes in the early games of Path of Exile 2. Now, getting more into the nitty-gritty of building your Witch, so we're going to talk about stat distribution. So there's 3 main stats in the game, which will be Dexterity, Strength, and Intelligence. As you see in the top, in the skills there's Strength, Dex, and Intelligence. Of course, for the Witch, you want to go for Intelligence. You'll have gear and armor to give you bonus intelligence, but in the passive skill trees, you'll have a choice to pick an additional 5 attribute points. Of course, you want to primarily focus on the intelligence for pretty much most of the early game. Once you get into the mid and late game, you can kind of pick strength and dex to like wear a little bit like heavier armors and stuff like that, but increasing your intelligence will pretty much give you the stat requirements for most spells in the game, and of course increase your mana as well. So for the Witch, you want to primarily focus on putting points into intelligence. And then the last thing I want to talk about, guys, is the equipment and the armors and weapons that you want to look out for the Witch, because obviously that's an important part of the game, right? So for the Witch, you want to look out for stats on weapons and armor with high evasion rating, energy shield, which gives you like a temporary shield on your health bar there. So on the health orb in the top, in the bottom left hand corner of the screen, there is like a blue line that is a shield to your health. So if you have high shield rating, high evasion, because you don't have a lot of armor, so you are kind of squishy. Obviously with playing a Witch, you're not like, you know, playing a warrior where you would have heavy armor. So with the Witch, you want to have high evasion rating, crit chance on spells, minion damage, any one of those stats you want to focus on for the at least the armor. Now for the weapons, you can use wands, focuses, and or scepters that will give you weapon skills and bonuses to those skills. So if you want to do minions, I would go scepters. If you want to do more spells and debuffs, I would go with the focus. And that pretty much wraps up our leveling and or starter guide for the Witch class in Path of Exile 2. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to drop a like and consider subscribing to the channel if you appreciate the time and effort that goes into these videos. I will be making more of these videos for the other classes in Path of Exile 2, so make sure to hit that notification bell so that way YouTube can notify you guys every time our videos go live. And if you guys want just overall tips in general for Path of Exile 2, I'll put a link up in the cards right now to go over our starter tips for beginners in Path of Exile 2. So make sure to check that video out as well. But that's gonna be it from us, guys. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Deuces.